So a few days ago, I shared a very sensitive video on my Twitter handle. Very shocking to say the least. And I want to play you that video. And as I'm playing that video, maybe 2 or 3 stops in the video, I'm going to stop to explain to you what Donald Trump, what he said in that video was actually pretty self-explanatory. But I want to do my best to break down and connect a few dots for you so you understand what is really happening. And at the end of this particular video, maybe I will be able to help you understand what could be happening very soon if care is not taken. Watch.
Throughout the summer, Democrats cruelly blocked COVID relief legislation in an effort to advance their extreme left-wing agenda and influence the election. Then, a few months ago, Congress started negotiations on a new package to get urgently needed help to the American people. It's taken forever. However, the bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace.
In the next clip, you're going to see why Donald Trump called this a disgrace and why I believe that disgrace is understatement. But before we get to the next clip, did you hear what he said? All through summer, they were supposed to have brought this bill. They were foot dragging. They didn't want to do it. Why? Because they were united in their plan to destroy the American system. All the stuff they infused and added into this bill are things that are so obvious to even a blind bat that Donald J. Trump would never sign a bill like this. So now it makes sense that they had to delay it because they waited to a point where they can confidently say, now we have a potential Biden presidency that is going to come. Because the only person who is likely to sign a bill like you are about to see now is actually a President Joe Biden. There is no way anybody can expect Donald Trump to sign this kind of thing that I'm about to show you. This is why they delayed it and brought it at the time they feel like, okay, a Biden presidency now sealed and signed. Nothing can stop it again. Maybe they're wrong. Who knows? We'll find out by January 20, but let me show you the next clip. Watch.
For example, among the more than 5,000 pages in this bill, which nobody in Congress has read because of its length and complexity, it's called the COVID relief bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID. This bill contains $85.5 million for assistance to Cambodia, $134 million to Burma, $1.3 billion for Egypt and the Egyptian military, which will go out and buy almost exclusively Russian military equipment, $25 million for democracy and gender programs in Pakistan, $505 million to Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama, $40 million for the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., which is not even open for business, $1 billion for the Smithsonian, and an additional $154 million for the National Gallery of Art. Likewise, these facilities are essentially not open. $7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico, a provision to promote the breeding of fish in federal hatcheries, $3 million in poultry production technology, $2 million to research the impact of down trees, $566 million for construction projects at the FBI. The bill also allows stimulus checks for the family members of illegal aliens, allowing them to get up to $1,800 each. This is far more than the Americans are given. Despite all of this wasteful spending and much more, the $900 billion package provides hardworking taxpayers with only $600 each in relief payments.
So this bill in total is almost $1 trillion, $900 billion. COVID relief, COVID stimulus bill, $900 billion for the American people. For the American people. But what is inside the bill? $85.5 million to Cambodia. $134 million to Burma. Then $1.3 billion for Egypt and the Egyptian military. Wait a minute, did you just hear that? $1.3 billion with a B, 1.3 billion with a big B for Egypt and the Egyptian military. A stimulus bill for Americans. Mostly going to so many countries outside of the United States of America. Is this something you tell me that Donald Trump is going to sign? Come on, man. That's why they delayed the bill. They know too well that Trump would never sign, but a Biden presidency will very much sign this kind of bill. $1.3 billion to Egypt and the Egyptian military. And according to the man, he said much of what Egypt is going to use this money to buy, the military hardware, is going to come from Russia. So you take American money and give it to Egyptian military to go and buy military hardware from Russia. If that is not a decimation of the American experiment, I want you to tell me what is. And you know, when the American experiment dies, our liberties die, not only in America, but all over the world. Religious liberty included, it dies instantly with it. Because the American experiment is the only one today standing by Christians, by religious liberty for Christians and even other religions. Only this American experiment under Donald J. Trump. When they manage to kill it, it's over. And that's why I said earlier in my opening charge, get ready for one world religion. This is all part of it. I don't know why he didn't include the 700 million that also went to Sudan. So here you go, you have 700 million, close to $1 billion going to Sudan in an American stimulus bill for Americans. And you have 1.3 billion going to Egypt, two of them gulping $2 billion. And you have 134 million going to Burma. And you now have 25 million for democracy and gender programs in Pakistan. When you hear them talking about democracy and gender programs, they are literally telling you they want to go and begin to promote comprehensive sexuality education in that place. A type of education that teaches children that it's okay to actually feel like becoming someone else that you are not. You can actually be a girl and just want to be a man. We can help you with sex change, drugs, and all kinds of exercise and assistance that you need to do that. You can also abort your babies. It doesn't matter if you're dating somebody who has HIV. It's okay to fall in love with them and just have sex and, you know, just experiment with sex. You can mutually masturbate with each other. What I'm saying is literally contained in the comprehensive sexuality education program. So when I'm saying it, don't think I'm just putting stuff out there. Gender programs in Pakistan with a stimulus bill money for Americans to go and promote all this LGBTQ ideology in a Muslim nation. This is what stimulus bill for Americans is doing. And they want Trump to sign this, and people actually voted for this and approved it. And now you have 505 million to Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. $500 million in an American stimulus bill. And then the icing on the cake is when they decided to give $1,800 to family members of illegal aliens in America. Therefore, the American citizens, the taxpayers who make it happen, who this thing is actually meant for, they have to make do with a paltry $600. And now you see a rhino, Republican in name only, like this man, Mitt Romney, arguing that Trump's proposal for a $2,000 check given to American citizens in place of $600, that it's too much, that it will make America borrow too much. But Mitt Romney didn't see anything wrong in sending $700 million to Sudan. But he has a problem with the $2,000 check for the taxpayers. I bet he thinks $600 is okay when the family members of illegal aliens get $1,800. So if you give American citizens $2,000, the difference is only going to be $200. And Mitt Romney thinks it is wrong. That's why I keep telling people all the time, there had never been a difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. And I've always said it. You can check my videos. I keep saying to people, Trump is not a Republican. He is a libertarian. He is a constitutionalist. He's not a Republican as in Republican Party. That's who he is. The man believes in the Constitution. The Republicans, many of them don't. The Republicans and the Democrats are the two sides of one coin, controlled by the same entities, the same people. There is a mantra called divide and conquer, divide and rule. That's what created the Republican Party and the Democrat Party for you. You have to have a false sense of one side being conservative and the other one being liberal. It's a false sense of it, because if they don't get the people divided along those paradigms, they will not be able to control the people. You have to have that. That's why in every Freemasonic temple, you're going to see the black and white square in their temple. It just simply signifies that, look, black and white, we control them both. That's what it means. They can't function by just creating only one side of the paradigm. It has to be two sides, so that the people will say, oh, I'm liberal. This one say, oh, I'm conservative. That's the way you keep the people controlled forever. But when a common enemy comes, the black and white will come together and turn into gray to fight that common enemy. And that common enemy is any person who comes forward with an offer of true liberty, of true freedom. And that person is Trump. That's why two of them have now come together. Do you see any difference between Republicans and Democrats anymore? No. They have now joined. Black and white have come together to fight against the common enemy, which is Donald Trump, who is now trying to give power to the people. Why should you give power to the people when we already created two paradigms so that we can make sure that power never goes to the people? When you have Republican and Democrat, the people don't feel there's any need for them to have power anymore. That's why they created it. So that's why it says divide and rule. How do you rule over somebody? They have to give you the power to rule over them. And in order to make sure that they rule over these populations for a long time to come, they created two paradigms for you. Negative, positive. If you're liberal, the conservative is negative for you. If you're conservative, the liberals are negative. And so there's always a fight. But Trump came and exposed the whole thing. And now the people became more and more hungry to take back their power. And Trump has been helping them to take that power back. And that's why these two, black and white, have come together now to fight against this Trump, who is fighting and doing everything he can to give the power to the people, the power that actually originally belongs to the people. That's what's going on. That's why Republicans are backstabbing him left, right, and center, betraying him. He even tweeted it recently. talking about how there's so many Republicans who rode on his back to victory, to power, have thrown him under the bus, have stabbed him repeatedly, betrayed him like there's no tomorrow, and allowed him, left him alone, fighting a gigantic election fraud, the worst in American history. When they should be fighting with him is to show you that they were never for him. They are loyal to the forces, the dark forces that control both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. The loyalty is not to the American people, neither to the American Constitution, which of course is where Trump stands. And that's why they all have to come together to fight this one common enemy, constitutionalist Donald J. Trump. Let's go forward.
And not enough money is given to small businesses, and in particular restaurants, whose owners have suffered so grievously. They were only given a deduction for others to use in business their restaurant for 2 years. This 2-year period must be withdrawn, which will allow the owners to obtain financing and get their restaurants back in condition. Congress can terminate it at a much later date, but 2 years is not acceptable. It's not enough. Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interests, while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it. It wasn't their fault. It was China's fault, not their fault. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I am also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done. Thank you very much.
Maybe that administration will be me or will be mine, and we will get it done. I know you're thinking right now, oh, how can he say that? I mean, Biden is already president. No, he's not. How can you say maybe that administration will be me? I actually agree with him. And honestly, some of you may be very disappointed when whatever may happen eventually happens. If at this stage Donald Trump is still very confident that he is going to be the next president of the United States of America for another 4-year term, you better adjust your seatbelt and get ready for what may unfold that will shock so many people. You see, I am already so prepared for whatever happens. I've said it to so many people. I am so psychologically prepared. In fact, let me be honest, and I tweeted this some time ago. Somehow, somewhere in the dark recesses of my mind, I keep having this tiny little tingly feeling that, oh God, why don't you just allow Biden to be president? Honestly, I hate to say that, but I do feel that way because, you know, if he does, maybe that will be the easiest way for people to really know that we were right all along. Just like Buhari became president and everybody suddenly realized, oh my gosh, they were right. I'm telling you, I said this in my last video. Maybe God should just let Biden become president so that these people who are cheering and fighting for this man to come to power just on the basis of all manner of propaganda from CNN and the mainstream media lies they tell every day, those people need to see what it feels like to live under a Biden presidency. My only concern has been all along the lack of preparedness on the side of God's people. Christians are not prepared for what is coming. Believers are so ill prepared. I have a video, 2 more videos that you're going to watch out for. One on the COVID passport, right? Watch out for that video so you can see how close we are to the end of all things as we know it. And you have a Biden who is 100% aligned with all the philosophies of the globalists who want to end our life, end humanity as we know it, and usher in the regime of the Antichrist. You have a Biden administration who wants to promote every single thing that they hold in high esteem, and you don't think there's something wrong somewhere. You don't feel anything about it. Isn't that amazing? Nevertheless, if it has pleased the Lord to give us a second chance, it doesn't matter what you feel, it doesn't matter how much you love Biden or support him, he will still give us our second chance. And from the things that we are looking at, from the look of things and the events of the last few days, it pretty much is beginning to look like we're going to get that second chance. I can't put a bet on it, but it pretty much looks like it right now. And for that, I'm going to read you a few things. And I want you to please, I beg of you, I'm not forcing you, I'm actually pleading with you to pay attention to some of the details I want to share with you right now. These are things that have unfolded just in the last few days, when everyone already thinks that all hope is lost, nothing is ever going to happen, it's going to be a Biden presidency. All these are happening now. Let's break it down and see if we can connect a few dots.